violence problems, but what it does is unwanted or neglected guns that somebody maybe has, or somebody's spouse died and they were a pistol permit owner and they didn't even know what to do with it. Now I've got this thing, it's probably not legal to even be here. You know, what do I do? Those unwanted or neglected guns are often the ones that if they do go missing, it's not even noticed that they're missing. And that can be a public safety issue. The gun buyback is funded with drug forfeiture monies that our office obtains, and then turns around and uses that in furtherance of public safety in that instance. So we do try to have the awards or settlement monies that come to us, or forfeiture funds, go to try to ease the problem that was engendered by a misdoer. And so that happens. But just to align gun violence, two other things just occur to me very quickly. One of the things that the AG's office now does is, if someone is killed by law enforcement and it turns out that person was unarmed, the feeling was that the district attorney shouldn't necessarily investigate law enforcement. Was it a justified killing? It's only this if somebody is actually killed and where they are unarmed. But in those instances, rather than the district attorney investigating that, we have a special prosecutor. Actually, we have one in the Rochester office who's quite excellent. Unfortunately, you know, we don't have a call for that very often, but we do have someone with that expertise in our office. And the other thing I just want to mention on trying to tackle gun violence, because it just happened very recently, the Attorney General came to Rochester and made an announcement about a gun trafficking capacity that he now has. And what it is the Attorney General's office compiled records from 2010 to 2015 of 53,000 guns recovered at crime scenes. So this is not, you know, the legal gun owner. These are guns recovered at crime scenes, and try to determine where those guns came from to try to see if there are similar sources. How do we stop the flow of illegal guns? They found that statewide, Rochester was a little better in one sense, but statewide 76% of the 53,000 guns recovered at crime scenes came from out of state. So it's important to understand that, because a lot of times you hear the argument, well, we have tough gun laws in New York, but you don't have any reduction in gun crimes. Well, maybe it's because people can just go to another state, buy a gun, and come back. And Rochester ranked #1 in the time between purchase and it's being found at a criminal scene, an illegal gun. So those are guns that are obviously being purchased just because they want to use them in criminal activity. So it's those kinds of things that we now have a database available to the public, even more available to law enforcement with respect to some respects, but you can punch in the number, the identification number on a gun, identified at a crime scene, and see where it was purchased, and then where it was legally sold, and hopefully we'll be able to stop some of the illegal gun trafficking that goes on. Yes?
So after the election last week, I understand there were a couple of cases in Rochester where people's rainbow flags got burned on their flagpoles. So I suppose that's a minor vandalism legally, but it's like the threat of something.
Well, so
bigger.
far those are being handled, as Ben said, the primary, law enforcement is looking at those as potential hate crimes. And I know law enforcement is doing investigations for whether or not it's appropriate to refer to the district attorney's office if they arrest somebody. But that's at the first pass is being handled by local law enforcement. But it is, I think, our Civil Rights Bureau or our Criminal Bureau would have no hesitancy about trying to make sure that laws are enforced.
Right, but the we don't have a hate crime statute that the Attorney General has jurisdiction to directly enforce. If the district attorney asked us, we could certainly go in and we can supplement the work. But there's a federal civil rights hate crime statute, and so it would be the Department of Justice who would actually prosecute those matters.
So, like, would that go into a database so that, like, if they catch who's burning flags, like, they might be doing a lot of other things and it would help?
Well, it's hard to, it's certainly hard, it is certainly hard to know, but, if you're talking about a federal civil rights investigation for hate crimes, it would be the Federal Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney's Office, that would actually prosecute that. Okay.
also mention of a product that was banned in New York State. So it's something from the dollar store. I don't know what it was, that, if I heard correctly. Does that mean that some things really have to be fought state by state by state to get the goods off the shelves?
It depends. You know, when we did the recall for the lead in the lunchboxes, it was a nationwide recall. And what we did is we went to the distributor who imported the product from China. And we had an agreement with that person, so it affected the entire country. And then we went to Walmart, Target, JCPenney's, and Sears independently when we said, okay, you guys are selling these things, will you agree to recall them? And they did. And so they did that nationwide. So you can do it. Sometimes it takes a creative process to get them there, but that was the only result that made sense.
Most people complain to the Better Business Bureau. Do they work with you, or do they refer people to you if it's out of their jurisdiction, or if they need help? How does that work?
Yeah, we do have a relationship with the Better Business Bureau. If we have a case that we handle that results from one of our actions, they report that on their website. So when you check a business on the Better Business Bureau and there have been government enforcement actions against that company, it shows up. Sometimes if there are repeated complaints against a particular company, they'll contact us and say, hey, this might be a problem, would you guys look into it? And we use their resources as well, because if we get a few complaints, we know that there may be a bunch of them over there, and we'll go contact them and find out about them. So it's reciprocal. All right, great, thank you.
Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful to you for coming and for allowing us to record this as well. For those folks who were not with us this evening, we're grateful for the brochures that you've brought, and we suspect that we'll see you again in some. Absolutely. Thank you all so much for being here this evening. The League of Women Voters will be presenting our next forum in February. It will be the last Monday in February, which I believe is the 27th, and we'll be celebrating Black History Month with Reverend Marvin McMickle, and that will be here, 7 o'clock p.m. We hope you'll mark your calendars, but we'll certainly remind you if you don't. So thank you again. Drive carefully. Thank you so much. Oh my